Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday? Question mark? What is time? How's it going, y'all? We're back from the jam. Down to jam number 2, which we did from the 5th through the 8th. And then took a day off to kind of just do nothing. But we're back. We're working on our main project. And it's our 300th live stream, which I didn't realize until I just looked at my VOD count on YouTube. I looked at it yesterday and I saw that there were 299 VODs, which makes this the 300th live stream, which is crazy. Not the 300th episode of, making an FTL-like in Godot, but 300th live stream since I started streaming. It's pretty cool, I think. Yeah, let's get to it. If anyone's curious about what I did, I guess, you can get to my itch. I added an itch panel on Twitch, and you can find our game through there, called Bare Necessities, DIGITALILIAD.itch.io. We got it here. It's Bare Necessities by Dave Ravel. Very pleased. That's me. We're not going to play it, but very cozy. Not much game to it. Hey, Outagon. How's it going? You've been a whirlwind of jam site updates. But yeah, this was fun to make. Very pleased. The reception's been kind of mixed. Everyone seems very pleased with the art, which is great because the art was really the big lift for me. Hey, Rihanna Journey, how's it going? I've never really done any kind of art like this before, like nature, character animations, stuff like that. So this was pretty big, and it's generally been received very well from the art side. Gameplay-wise, I definitely made some mistakes. Like, there's no click feedback. So, like, it's pretty clear that you're directing the bear, but I've literally had people comment on the jam page and be like, I don't understand what the controls are. So I should have had a little click feedback. I didn't want to expose the underlying grid because I could just show you what grid you're clicking on. I probably should have highlighted the object that the bear is navigating towards, at least. I could have just swapped the black outline for a white outline or something. That could have caused some issues, like when you're trying to follow the fish, the bear isn't actually following the fish. It's going to like where the fish was when you clicked. So I could have improved the feedback on the controls and explained a little better what you're doing. But generally quite pleased with how this turned out. We could do a rotation tween on the object on click. Yeah, I should have done something. Part of it is that up until the final day, there wasn't any plan for the player to control the bear at all. Like, originally I wanted this to be an idle game, like Ropika's Idle Island, where the bear is just going around and you're just like you're like upping his stats and like unlocking alternative skins on things. But like, obviously I didn't have time to make any of that content, so I had to switch to a cozy game at the last second. So I didn't really think about the interactive design of it until it was, very late in the game. But as far as cozy games, I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I think the other mistake I made was just an audience mismatch. I don't think doing a game like this that has no real score tracking or extrinsic motivation to do anything, like, you kind of play this game because you're just messing around. I think that was a bit of a mismatch for the jam audience, which game jammers they're a little bit more high octane. They're a little bit more of a score chaser kind of crowd. This is a really hard game to get anyone to play on stream, which is why I didn't really ask anyone to do so, because it's so slow. I was literally watching someone playing this on stream who would input a command and then alt-tab away to go do something else and then alt-tab back to check in. And it's like, all right, this is not a game for that environment. So I don't think I would make another game like this for a game jam, unless it was explicitly like the theme of either the theme of the jam or the presentation of the jam was like oriented around doing something like this. I just think it's kind of an audience mismatch, which I didn't think about. But I'm very pleased. This is probably my favorite game jam I've ever participated in, and probably my favorite game I've gotten out of it. So I love Down to Jam. Down to Jam was great. Can't wait to do another. I think 72 hours is the sweet spot for me personally. Ludum Dare Compo is a little too intense. It's a little too. There's not enough time. Can I get this fish? I might be able to just snatch this fish as it goes off screen. Yoink. Got him. But yeah, I had a great time. This was awesome. The other thing I hate is a Godot specific thing, which is I used only all of this is sprites and stuff, like animated sprites and regular sprites. That was high octane action. Yeah, apparently the hardest challenge of this game is getting the fish. And when people try to camp the fish, they have to figure out their strategy for like maintaining an adequate energy bar while they wait for the fish to show up. I got pretty lucky here in terms of like how the apples are falling and stuff, but the apples could have fallen over here. I've seen multiple people have to decide whether they want to go for the apple or for the fish, and they've run out of energy because they went for the fish. That was pretty funny. Oh, I missed the fish. The fish is tough. You're just here to say hi. Oh, I'm sorry, Nix. You're having a hard time. No, yeah. Thanks for saying hi. Go take care of yourself. Go relax. Go unwind. Take it easy. Oh, the other thing is just a Godot specific gripe I have, which is I used one control node, which is a texture progress bar for the energy bar, and it jumps around in a way that bothers me so much sometimes. I should have just used a Sprite 2D or a combination of two Sprite 2Ds laid on top of each other. I am never going to try to use a textured control node that moves in a pixel art game ever again. I hate this so much. It's very jarring the way it bounces around like this. You want the whole bar to move at once. You don't want the bar to move and then the content of the bar to move separately, which is what's happening here. This is awful. You're watching Lord of the Rings? That's it. That's the stuff right there. Slept for maybe 6 hours since last Sunday. On the positive side, you watched the Hobbit trilogy. Is that on the positive side, though? Is it? I'm kidding. The Hobbit trilogy is not as bad as people make it out to be. I think at least the first one is quite good. The first Hobbit movie is quite great. And then it kind of, gets a little weird after that, but yeah, this is what I made. Very pleased. You normally just use color rects. Yeah, I should have done something. This was a mistake. I was in a hurry and I was like, well, I might as well use the texture progress bar node. It exists. But I didn't think about how it would kind of fight to try to understand what pixel it should be on. But I love this resolution, the 180p resolution. I think this is the resolution I'm always going to use for a jam. There's enough room to do what you want, but it's also very constricting. Same thing with like the 12 color palette. I was having a really hard time picking a color palette because at first I was like, well, I need one set of browns for the bear, I need another set of browns for like the wood, and I need like another set of browns for like the dirt, etc. And then I finally kind of became happy with it when I just stopped doing that. When I started doing, anytime I do subtractive design, I'm usually a lot happier. You consider The Hobbit a bit short? Only 6 hours. They haven't made extended editions yet of The Hobbit. I mean, I guess the whole Hobbit trilogy is already an extended edition, right? But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Eventually, the bear will run out of energy, and we'll just go home and sleep. This game also plays well on the phone, which was kind of a pleasant surprise. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone hanging out. We streamed the whole jam over the weekend. I didn't think it was going to be that big, because, you know, it's a smaller game jam. It's a new game jam. This is only the second edition of it, but it was really great. We got a lot of raids, a lot of new followers. This was all overall just a great experience. I'm very pleased. I'm gonna send Bernard, our sweet little bear, back to his cottage where he'll go to sleep. But we're done with this. We did it. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna do any post-jam updates. I could do a couple of things like the click feedback, changing the progress bar. I could do some minor stuff, which I might consider doing once the jam rating period is over. But I don't know. My desire to update jam games are usually directly correlated with how unhappy I am with what I made. And I'm quite happy with this, which means I have very low motivation to change anything about it. So I might not even update this. I might just consider this finished. Yeah, we're going to sleep, Bernard. There you go. There, he wants to go to sleep. Adagon, since all the organizers are streamers, it's very stream heavy compared to other jams this size. Yeah, I like that. I enjoyed that. I thought that was great. Yeah, I think Down to Jam really punches up in terms of its size. I think it has a big impact for the size of the jam, which is really cool. Yeah, Bernard is going back to sleep. Let's wait to see those Z's. There he is. But yeah, that's playable on my itch, which I've added as a Twitch panel. And it's also just, I should probably add a link. There's probably a link on my link tree. If there isn't, I should add one. No, there isn't. I should add itch to the link tree. All right, well, back to work. Work. That was terrible. Work. Yes, Lord. But yeah, thanks again, everyone who popped in, said hi, helped support me. I did end up staying up for 36 hours straight at the end of the jam there. Which the funny thing is, I was more tired yesterday and today than I was at any point during that 36 hours. So the body is a strange thing. We need more lumber. Yeah, exactly. The voice line I actually thought of the whole time I was making Bare Necessities was like the Age of Empires 2 one, like the Godot. Just when they like are farming or gathering berries. I think they actually say something different when they gather berries, but I don't remember. Selective memory. But yeah, I'm also very pleased with Bernard. You might notice we have some more emotes in the Discord and on Twitch. Sorry, everyone's having these health issues. These are rough. Hope you all are doing better. Yeah, I just added them last night. They're brand new. We got Bernard and we got Bernard Pekin, which was really funny. All right, let's see where we're at. So we've actually managed to hook up the new tile map atlas source, and it's broken.
Maximum warp.
Cannot create tile. The tile is outside of the scene resources tile sets. Oh. Cannot create tile. I swear I tested this recently. Does the engine need to update, or what do we got? What's going on? Tile is outside the texture, or tiles are already present in the space the tile would cover. Tile set atlas source is no tile at 1660. editor plugins, tiles, tile set editor, tile set dot is null is true. I'm pretty sure I tested this recently. Let's just double check everything. But yeah, kind of weird to just be back working on the main game. I do want to do more cozy game style stuff. I don't know if a game jam is like the appropriate forum for doing it, but our big inspiration was Rokuka's Idle Island. And it only reinforced my desire to do like an idle game style thing. Oh, you know what's going on? Well, no. I don't know what's going on. What's going on here? I made some changes to the entity component system, and I think I broke some things. The given key cutaway buffer was not present in the dictionary. I'm going to change this music. This is getting a little too sweeping. Uncertain Outcome Main is the song we're just listening to, which is a great track to be debugging to. Uncertain Outcome Main. All right. Thanks, Bradley James Farmer, for that gem. All right. Yeah, I made some changes to the entity component system that was just quality of life stuff for me. And I admit that I made these changes like around midnight the day before the jam started, and I did not test them. I did test them, I thought, but clearly I didn't test them thoroughly. So that's generally bad form to do something like that. So we're having some issues when we're trying to get a component out for the cutaway buffer. You know, I'm probably not actually making... I think I created a new kind of component. Cutaway buffer 3D, AABB, iBuffer 3D component, cutaway. Yeah, I made this cutaway, and I don't think... I made this cutaway component, and I don't think we use it. No, we do. We do use it. So what's the problem? I don't know why that would cause a tile set issue, specifically. Let's see where we're let's see where we're creating our cutaway stuff. Oh, well. I don't... Add buffer component. What happened to all my changes? I only made... I guess I didn't totally finish this. T1 is unmanaged. It's an unmanaged iBuffer component. T2 is unmanaged. Get rid of the flag. We can just say T1.flag. I got sick of passing around component flags. If we know what component we're talking about, we can just access a static flag that's on that struct. That's what I'm trying to do here. He is going to be an unmanaged I component. I don't think this directly would affect, unless I have failed to define a flag on certain components. Seems unlikely, but possible. Well, an I component fundamentally has that. Yeah, I don't like the way I've structured my component type class. But you know, it works. I hadn't even been planning to work on this, and then it just kind of happened. So I guess we're debugging. Oh yeah, the cutaway component does not have a flag, which would explain some of the problems. Well, a cutaway is not itself a component. Maybe I'm getting mixed up here somewhere. Oh well, we might as well clean this up. Yeah, I'm very tired this week, which makes sense. But you know, I got that like postpartum, that game jam postpartum, where I'm like, I'm pleased with what we did and the skills that kind of grew over the weekend. I'm sad when people, you know, aren't able to understand the game or they have a bad experience with it. And obviously I feel I could have done better. What was your game jam game earlier? I'll drop a link. Hey no Joel, how's it going? Called Bare Necessities. Very cozy game, very light on extrinsic motivating factors. Very slow. That was the other feedback. People did not like how slow Bernard was. Which I think is a commentary. It's a flaw in a way, but it's also a commentary on, I think, kind of the way we engage with games. That, I think, is part of that audience mismatch that I was talking about earlier. I don't think it was the right kind of game for the jam. Because usually jammers are just looking to play a game for 5 minutes, have a quick experience, like a little score chase experience or something. Not the appropriate environment to really slow down. All right, the tool system and the edit system have some issues. This track is fire. I'm glad that I don't need to actually plug in the component flags, which I have flags. They're just like bit flags, and it does help with comparisons, easy comparison. But I was having to pass them around, and I was like, why am I doing this? If we know the type, then we can just get the flag. Like, if we know the component type, like what component we have. But I don't think I thoroughly tested the consequences of doing it this way. Given key cutaway buffer was not present in the dictionary. Yeah, this is pointing to something. I'm going to get largest component size in PI.ECS. Yeah, I've misidentified something here because... Oh, are we trying to define the size of the cutaway buffer component? And for some reason, we're not able to define the size of the cutaway itself. That's interesting. So we try to add a buffer. We have to make a new archetype. And we try to get... Okay, get largest component size. Okay, composition. Okay, we at least know where this probably is. Yeah, I think the tile map errors are misleading. I think that's a red herring here. So composition, component.flags, components. Flags. Get largest component size. So for each component.flags and component in this, size is component.types, component.size, size. All right. Unsafe size of T, component T, where T is unmanaged. Size of T. When we get the size of T, we're trying to get the size of the buffer, not the cutaway. Yeah, I think I've just mislabeled something here. Give me the world. How's everyone doing, though? Pretty crazy. This is the 300th live stream that I've done. Especially because we've only been live streaming for a little over a year and a half, I think. We started in February of 2024. So block buffer 3D, iBuffer 3D component block. Yeah, we don't have this problem with the block buffer 3D or any of the other buffers. We're just having this problem with the cutaway buffer. Did I mistakenly mark the cutaway as like a component or something? Or is for some reason can it not be sized? Public partial struct, cutaway don't extent. Public bool. Oh, does this not? Oh yeah, this has one field here, the extent field. Public enum extents. No cuts. Oh, maybe when I'm registering this component, I'm not doing it right. No, the registration is automatic. Huh. Or at least it should be automatic. Am I just not defining a type? That would totally be something I would do. Yep. I have not defined a cutaway buffer type. Cool. That would be a problem. Kind of annoying the way I have to register these. But, you know, it saves a lot of... And any component system is a lot harder at the end of the day when you have to, like, manage... If you can create component types dynamically, you can do some pretty neat things. But it is a lot harder, so in my mind, it's just better to hard code. Here are all the component types that we support. But there's awkward things. Like we have tile set atlas index buffers, which I probably should rename. And we have one for each axis. And that's because you can only have one of a certain component on your entity. So if we want to have index buffers for the X, Y, and Z, we have to define 3 different component types for those. The other option would be to just define one buffer and to have fields. But maybe I should have done it that way. We'll see. We'll see if I start getting annoyed at how many component types we're defining. Right now we have so few that I don't really care, but maybe we'll do it a little differently in the future. All right. Are you happy now, computer? Okay, I don't know what is all going on here. There's some engine problems we're having with tile sets. However, seems to be mostly working. Looks like we might be having a problem with the tiles by hull type here. All right, so we can plug in new source IDs now. I still want to understand.
I think all art and imagination at some point leads you to think about things that aren't true. And that can be a great exercise for adapting to the world.
I want to understand this error. Guess I just have to go through the tile sets and see if there's a warning.
I think that it's the job of the artist to push the boundaries of what we're comfortable with and to make us see things.
These all seem fine.
We might otherwise see them.
Okay, so there doesn't seem to be a problem with the new tile sets. Oh wait, this one has some... Does this one have some cells defined outside the region? Yes, it does. Okay, that might have been the source of that complaint.
And that artists help us to recontextualize things.
Let's see if that gets rid of that error at least.
We might not otherwise make. And they're not
Okay, so that was the error. There were some tiles defined outside of the bounds. All right, well, let's replace our invalid block, not invalid, our missing block with the correct grays, the grays of the exterior and middle and interior holes. Should be pretty easy to do.
Asking the question, you know, what is art?
So right now we just say hull.middle is 1, 0. So
And we saw it in the Dadaist movement painting, and we saw a kind of backlash against that with hyper-realism and photorealism. So in terms of evolution, I think we've evolved.
so here we say
Asking species.
I need to register. We need to come up with a way to build these dynamically based on the content that's used and available. But right now they're just hard coded. So like hull type.outer, or outer hull type is ID2, middle hull type is ID3, inner hull type is ID4. So right now they're just, and then the missing ones are 0 and 1.
Code DNA and discover penicillin and all this stuff, and what you get out of that is music that many people find unlistenable, but it's part of the game.
I don't ever want to hear this song ever again. I don't understand this thing of like lo-fi tracks that just involve someone like giving like a TED talk throughout the entire song. Sorry if I'm a little cranky today. I'm still very tired. I normally try not to be negative. This is one of my triggers. When Pretzel Rocks gives me quote unquote instrumental music that just has someone talking over the whole song. That's my job. My job is to talk over the song. Or they're coming for my job. Tile set is null is true. It'd be really nice if I could get more than just a very generic error message. Oh well. There's always some random series of engine errors that come up that don't seem to impact anything. All right, so let's plug this in. So right now we're gonna say, we're gonna do Atlas switch. We need to change how this works. So what we need to do is we need to say atlas.tile.atlas.block. We're going to say all is equal to we're going to do nested switch statements, baby. All switch expressions are framed. Oh yeah, they're like expression bodies. Okay. So 3. I could also have this just be, what are the values of these? 0, 1, 2. So we could just say 2 plus all dot. Okay, we don't need a nested switch statement. We can say hall. We can say int hall plus 2. Kind of a silly way to do it, but it'll work. It'll work for now. We got to clean up, or we have a lot of work to do with the auto tiling rules, because now we can cover corner cases, which is very nice for the long-term health of our auto tiler here. It's really key that we can cover corner cases, but right now the system does not understand what a corner, how to handle those. Right now they only understand edge cases. We also need to figure out what we're going to do with doors. Let's see if we did it. Let's see if we got the correct hull colors now. Oops, I forgot some. I jumped around. I think I want to split the cutaway off into a different system. I think I want a cutaway system. Cutaway subsystem, I guess. I don't know if I ever actually want to call these subsystems. Because, like, in a way, every system is a subsystem. You know what I mean? I'll probably just continue to call them systems. What I do need to do is I need to start defining system groups that have like shared data dependencies or something like that, or like read-write ordering things, or even just they operate together. I need something like that. Oh, here's one. Missed that one. I think we got everything else, but let's just double check. Hey, Arnio. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. You know, I want to do another jam already. This door tile stuff is gonna absolutely break. So we can't place doors right now. That's a bit of an issue. I want to do another jam. Like, Ludum Dare doesn't really work for me in terms of timing. For this time. Patch notes number 1. It's in 36 hours. Wow, you were ready. Hey, Gron. Welcome in. How's it going? Patch notes number 1. What is that? Let me go look at that. Is that on itch? You got that on itch? Oh, can you not search this? Oh, no, it should be in the list here for the next 36 hours. I should keep an eye out, though. Oh, Jern Jam is about to start. That's a really long one. Hosted by Infogamer or Indieformer. Was it not a relief to come back to this project? You need more time off? No. It's not that. I feel like I grow as a creator a lot more when I do a game jam. Like there's a lot of there's a thrill to it. It's very addictive. But I think part of the reason why it's so special is I only do like a couple of jams a year. I also don't know if I could physically handle the pacing. Patch notes jam by Indieformer. But how's it going, Gron? You planning on doing that jam? A game jam for broken ideas. For a second, I read that as a game jam for broken indies, and I was like, ugh. Okay. But broken ideas is better. But yeah, I definitely read that as a game jam for broken indies. That sounds fun. Yeah, it starts in just a couple days. This might be a little too soon for me. Wild experiments. So, game jam for broken ideas, wild experiments, and the prototypes that never made it past the group chat. Oh, this is a 3,000 person jam? I've never heard of this. It's 3-day, which, as I was saying, I think 3-day is the sweet spot. I think that is the perfect jam length for me. I like this description. Patch notes is for devs who color outside the lines, the ones who chase cursed mechanics, poke broken systems, and build beautiful messes. It's a celebration of the unfinished, the unstable, the almosts, because that's where the good stuff usually hides. That's pretty fun. 72 hours, yeah, that is the sweet spot. When is it? It looks like it starts the 12th at midnight, which is not great for my time zone. But that also means it ends at midnight, which is pretty cool. This is a pretty responsibly and moderately organized jam. Their itch page is sick. I never modify my itch page for jams, and I really need to start doing it. I'm going to be super honest. I don't know anything about Indieformer. Is that like a periodical or something? Oh, they're partnered with Blue Ocean Games. That's interesting. Oh, they have a lot of partners. Fake publisher splash bonus challenge. I like this. Include a fake logo. That's just funny. Nick's already looking to the next jam. Can't I be wistful? Can't I just be a wistful individual? This looks cool, though. I'm going to keep an eye on this one in the future. It's too soon. I know I said I wanted to do another one soon. I meant like before the end of the year. But this is perfect. This is like, for me, this is a pretty close to the ideal jam. 72 hours. Maybe the only thing it's missing is a solo category. This seems like it's much more team-oriented. That's probably the only thing it's missing for me. I really do like a solo category. No, get back to work. I know, that's the other reason I don't do more jams. It's also the reason why I don't do long jams. Hey, Diginanigans. I might have already said hey. I'm way more tired now than I was Sunday and Monday when I had stayed up for 36 hours. I answered this before you asked me the question. I don't understand. It's like backwards. It's like backwards. I think when you stay up for like a day and a half like that, I think your body just floods you with adrenaline. So you feel great while you're doing it. And then the next couple of days, it's like your body is like, what did we do? No, Jewel, if you had a team, you would attend. Yeah. I'm not anti-team. I just have this weird need to do this stuff solo. It's probably mostly just ego. But yeah, I really like doing jams. But yeah, I have a hard time committing to doing like a 70 or to do a longer jam. Like, I could probably do a 1 week for the right jam, but like the 2-week jams or whatever like that, like I don't feel like I can justify taking that much time off of the main game development. And I feel like I would not be able to manage my time well and my scope well. I'm starting to get an idea for how much I can do in 2 to 3 days, which is good. It's a good skill to have. Still not quite there, but what are we doing? Oh yeah, we're testing to see if we successfully swapped out the different tile set atlas sources. But yeah, I want to keep an eye out on. I want to keep more of an eye out on jams because the jams are also really good for the channel. The channel grows a lot during a jam. I think this jam, though, my channel grew by about 5%, which is less than it would normally for like a Ludum Dare, but that's like a huge jam. Like the last Ludum Dare, we were averaging like 100 viewers or something like insane. Something unimaginable for this channel. So it's really good for a channel growth standpoint. All right, this is looking correct. I should be seeing some weird corner stuff. Okay, there they are. Something looks different. Besides the little pokey corners. So right now the system can't tell when it should get rid of a corner, so it's just drawing them always. That's the next thing we have to teach the auto tiler is when it should remove the corners. But otherwise, it looks like we're referring to the 3 hull types correctly. Oh. That's not right. The cutaway system is losing its mind. Unless I did that. Maybe I did that. Oh no, that looks like it's the cutaway system. It's like fully removing the floor. Why? Can I recreate that here? What the heck was that? They're giving major 90s PC game vibes. Yeah, Gron, that's kind of my vibe. Did you see the jam game I did this weekend? Someone told me it was like a 90s screensaver. But yeah, it's my pixel art style. It's like I use black outlines, flat shaded, very low resolution. That is my style. But thanks. I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, we're doing an isometric 2D take on FTL. So we're trying to do like a low res isometric FTL style game, like a Starship Manager kind of game. All right, we're going into ads. So do you only regain snoozes when you run an ad? Because I see that I'm almost out of snoozes already. I guess that's how it works. That's kind of smart. Otherwise, you could just snooze ads indefinitely. Well, it's not smart. Maybe it's just greedy, but I didn't realize that's how that worked. So yeah, so let's actually cut away a small subset just to see what's happening here. Interesting. We have to fix some outlining stuff that I'm remembering because of the way this works now. We can't do half block outlines. We removed support for that from this version of the Atlas source because it wildly overcomplicated the texture set, or the tile set Atlas source texture. So we removed support for it, but now we need to deal with the consequences of that. And I think I was trying to code around it, and I ended up doing this, which was wrong. So we're just... Oh man, we're just cutting away a lot of stuff here. How is this... Oh, we're running both cutaway systems, I think, simultaneously, maybe. This was curious. Well, the culprit seems to be... Oh, that's weird. The culprit seems to be the deck pieces. The deck pieces are cutting themselves away incorrectly. Huh. It's affecting both the exterior and the interior cutaway, though, which is very curious. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. I might actually work on my code template for game jams at some point. Because I actually came up with some systems in this last game jam that I think are good enough and generic enough that I think I would be interested in using them in the future. I don't think I'll work on it on stream, but it's just something to think about. Arneo, you've been avoiding getting back to your game. You keep overthinking signals and trying to make a health attack system 10 different ways. Oh, yeah. That stuff can be tough. Signals are pretty cool, but they're also pretty annoying. Like, deciding exactly how you want to do event handling in Godot, depending on how you've structured your project, can be pretty hard. Which is part of the reason why this game uses an ECS. Not because ECS makes handling events easy, quite the opposite. Event handling in ECS is actually pretty hard. But just managing the source of authority about who decides things. It can be pretty annoying when you've tried to make that system work from the bottom up, where like each individual character handles their own thing and signals up, and then you have to call back down to like resolve it or to tell them what the resolution was. That can be annoying. I do tend to like to signal up to some global single source of authority and then call back down to let them know what the resolution is. I like doing more of a client server thing. I don't like doing a peer-to-peer kind of thing when I'm resolving gameplay effects personally. But yeah, there's that is a problem with it. There's so many different ways you could do it. So we're gonna just start disabling aspects of the cutaway system until we figure out where the erroneous cutaway is being made. That's how we're gonna do it. The shenanigans, that's one of the things that's a bonus with the type of work that you do, is we're constantly working on all kinds of different projects that you've learned lots of different ways to bootstrap things. Yeah, that's really nice. And that is kind of the reason I like game jams. Because like this main project is very slow, and it's like I get very stuck in a certain way of doing things. But when you're in a game jam, you usually don't know what kind of game you're making when you start. And then that comes together, and then everything is about bootstrapping. It's like, okay, I've got maybe a few hours to develop this system. What's the quickest way to get it up and running? I don't know if the test that I just... Also, what in the what? Okay. Huh. This seems to be a problem for both of the cutaway systems, but let me make sure that that's true. The exterior cutaway system seems to also be having a problem with this, which is suspicious. Good reusable code patterns. Yeah. I'm starting to get there. My problem is that I forget how GDScript works every time, because I only do a couple jams a year. I just completely forget. I don't think I did what I wanted to do for this test. Nope, I did the opposite of what I wanted to do. But yeah, I'm starting to get enough of an idea of how I want this stuff to work that I think I can start reusing some of that stuff. Part of the thing is I've realized I only want to make isometric games. I have basically zero interest in making top-down or side-on games. I don't know why. I'm not terribly interested in making 3D games either, so it's like it's a very specific kind of thing that I'm interested in doing. Oh. This is happening in the exterior cutaway. Interesting. That is interesting. It's happening in both. I think I know what's going on. I don't actually think this is happening in the cutaway system. I think this is happening somewhere else. Floors are getting cut out, and I think I understand where this is happening. At first, it didn't make any sense that it would be happening here, but I think it's happening when we're getting the tile. I think for some reason, we're not setting the tile. I don't think it's the cutaway at all that's the culprit. I think when we go to make the tile cell, we're skipping tiles based on criteria that is incorrect. So I think we're saying something here like, yeah. We're kind of greedily skipping tiles that we don't think we need to draw. I'm just going to remove that greedy skip. Let's see if that's what's happening. So that just means we're being incorrect about which tiles we don't think we need to draw. Which does mean the cutaway system might be involved in some way, but... Whoa. What the heck is going on there? What's curious to me is why didn't this seem to affect us when we were testing the other atlas? I'm actually going to do that. We're going to swap back to the other atlas and see if this issue affects it. Because if not, then it's probably just a misconfiguration with the tile sets. Hull plus 2 might also not be the right thing. Why would that be affecting the floor but not the wall? Oh, is the floor distinguished by... not by source ID, but by something else? Maybe? Maybe? Shenanigans, you wanted to say, by the way, thanks for recommending checking out Blockbench. Oh yeah, it sounds like you've just hit the ground running with that. You've taken you took a look at it before. It doesn't really have what you need from a modeling point of view, but it works really well for texturing and doing the UVs and stuff for your tiles. Not to mention pretty easy to write plugins for to automate things. Yeah, it's pretty great that it works like that. Pretty incredible the uses that people are getting out of that tool, which is basically just like a way that they were using to oh, I changed the wrong thing here. Oops. Oh. I did the wrong test. For some reason, I thought the deck came first, but the bulks come first in this list, even though they come second almost everywhere else. That's my bad. I didn't actually do the test that I wanted to do. Oh, no, these do come first. The heck? Yeah, I'm glad it's working out, though. I still want to spend some time trying that out, but my lack of interest in making a 3D game means the thing I actually want to try out more first is I really want to try out, I really want to start working on digital audio stuff. The fact that I don't have experience with digital audio is probably the thing holding me back most of all. We'll see. You may eventually just full-on write a script in C# to generate your final tiles with the UVs that can port directly into Blender. Setup works really well for now. That's good. Good enough for now is often good enough. Arnio, you had a dream about your game where it was side view and you could seamlessly go from space travel to landing on a planet like in No Man's Sky. Probably a bit ambitious for your first game, though. Probably. But, I know some people who've done something like that. The issue you sometimes run in when you do something like that is you sometimes run into the covert action rule, which is a very unhelpful way of saying when you try to do stuff like that, sometimes you end up accidentally making 2 games instead of 1. And the thing about making 2 games instead of 1 is that the 2 games are usually not as good as the 1 game would have been. That is the covert action rule. Named after a game that Sid Meier made. All right, I think I've eliminated all the things that I want to eliminate for this test. Let's make sure I didn't accidentally eliminate more than I wanted to eliminate. We're going to go back to the missing block texture atlas, because that one seems to work, and this one seems to not work. Digital audio is a huge gap in your skills right now. Yeah, same. I have some tools that I really want to explore. I hope I haven't forgotten what they are. Hopefully I bookmarked them somewhere. There's kind of a soundscape tool that I want to try. It's more for generating soundscapes than it is for making like finished production tracks. But it's a space that I'm really interested in exploring for like, you know, ambiance. Okay, so the cutaway here seems to work fine. What if I cut out? Okay, it works totally correctly with this tile set atlas. So I've changed something between this and the other, or I misconfigured the other one. I also really like this dithering. I really want to explore dithering more. It's really interesting. I'm really pleased with it here. I kind of want to dither the middle hull pieces. Or consider trying dithering as like maybe a certain way of generating like shadows. Really interested in exploring it. It's kind of hard to look at sometimes, but it has a really interesting effect. I think I would be more interested in it as well on a 180p screen, because this is a 360p screen. The pixels are a little too small. It creates this kind of weird disorienting checkerboard. Also, the colors I selected are a little jarring to try to do dithering with, but... All right, so we have a better idea of where the problem is, and it actually looks like it's in a file configuration. No, Julie, you were thinking about learning to make music with Strudel? Strudel, DAW. That's the coding one, right? That's the one where you write the music out in code. I actually was watching a streamer doing this recently. I might be interested in trying this too. It's the JavaScript version of Tidal Cycles, which is a popular live coding language for music written in Haskell. I actually think the person I was watching was using Tidal Cycles, but I think I would be pretty interested in trying this JavaScript version. I'm going to bookmark that for later. Yeah, I'd be interested in trying that. Because, yeah, the tool I wanted to use has like a live... It has like a shader graph model, and I'm not like a big shader graph guy. So I'm actually kind of not looking forward to trying it. I think the tool I wanted to try was called Bespoke. And it's not like a DAW in the traditional sense. Bespoke synth. It's more for generating sounds, which I think would be an interesting thing because that might actually be really good for like Fmod. Excuse me, for like generating like dynamic soundscapes. I think that might be an interesting thing to try. Yeah, it has less of a focus on a global timeline. So it's more about jamming. And I think that'd be an interesting way to come up with like module little sound pieces that I could then control using something like Fmod. Yeah, I want to try that one too. You were playing around with Strudel Diginanigans? Yeah, it looks cool. It looks very cool. All right, so I've misconfigured our new tile set atlases somehow between this one and this one. How did I do it? I did it with the floors specifically, I think. It seems to affect the whole floor, not just the Z level of the floor, though. This looks the same. I don't see any issues with the tile map. Or with the tile set, particularly. Just concerning. Why would we have a problem? Let me check no, the actual tile map would be fine as well. Huh. Unfortunately, Strudel has a GPL license, so using it dynamically is not an option for a game unless you want to make it open source. You think? Oh. Yeah, I don't know if I would try to do it that way, but that would be really cool. Yeah, I was thinking of using bespoke synth in a kind of a dynamic way, where I would make little tiny modules and then connect them together with like Fmod. I don't even know if I would strictly need Fmod, but it's a nice way to do that stuff. And you can integrate Fmod with Godot. I think it's fine if you do that. All right, so tile that atlas on block, int hall +2. Hall +2 should just be fine though. Outer 0, middle 1, inner 2. Yeah, that's not a problem. I wonder where this issue is. All right, we're going to switch back to the regular textured one. Just look at it for a second. Try to understand what we're seeing here. So what if I do this and I just cut away this part? Huh. Yeah, it's just straight up not drawing these tiles. And then if I do this, though, like, what could cause that? What could cause that, but only for that particular atlas? Because we don't see that happen when we're using the missing block atlas. It's only when we use the hull type textured one. So again, it points me to the idea that there's a misconfiguration with that tile set, but I cannot find it. So what happens when I do the same thing here? What do we get? Okay, we get a very strange kind of infinite. It's very disorienting. Yeah, we don't see that here. It's definitely a problem with just the atlas. But where? Where is the problem? I think it's a problem with the Z layer specifically. So let's go look there. I think I might have a problem with this. So let's look at the inner, because it's probably the inner. No. Once again. Wait. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is supposed to be ID 4, and it's ID 5. Great. I hate the way tile sets increment ID numbers. It increments it every time when you delete one and recreate. It doesn't reuse the last one, which in a sense makes sense, but in another sense, it's super annoying. Was that literally the whole problem? Cool. I think it was. Source ID mismatch. Typical. All right, I think we should be okay. I don't know if I swapped the... Yeah, I did. Okay, let's see. This should be all good now. Or you know, relatively good. There's definitely still issues. All right. All right. All right, we did it. We fixed that issue at least. Which is way harder to find than it should have been. Yeah, we still can't support doors. That's definitely the highest priority, probably. And then we need to start teaching the auto tiler about some different stuff. You'll notice the when I say outside lines, I mean the outside of the cutaway, but you'll notice that at one point here, it's very thin, and then it thickens up, and then the higher levels are all thicker. So this is all, where's the edge of my camera? There it is. So it's like thick outline, then this floor piece has a thick outline, and then it thins out here. And that thinness is because we can't support the half block outline. So because this is a half block, we just have to either get rid of the outline or fully draw it. And if we fully draw it, it will extend down through this block to the next floor. And that is unacceptable. So we have to remove it. But that means for consistency's sake, we need to remove all of the ones along here. But that's tricky. That's tricky to do. In theory, we could just fix this one and then just allow the inconsistency for the others, but I don't like that. So I would like to find a systematic fix that is consistent for all of it. And so that'll be fun. But I think the higher priority is to get the doors working. So the way we've got the doors set up now, we kind of punted on it. And right now the door layer is just this. Like, we don't have a missing door texture thing. I think I need to change the way we do doors. Right now the door is like a block type. Like, you render, it's not like our regular tile atlas, which I know it's hard for me to illustrate the point here, but it's not like our regular one where we're iterating where we're drawing these all per face. So like here are all the wall faces, and then the floor faces, and then the Z faces. So for the most blocks, we're doing it per face, but not for the doors. And I originally had it like that because the doors are kind of special because they animate, they open and close and stuff. So I just have these proxies here that we place in temporarily. I don't know if that's how I want it to work permanently. I don't think it is. I think we want to move the door to like to similarly to a per face system. It would make making each door would be a little harder. Like managing the behavior of the door would be harder Because most of the doors, like this door is trivial because the door is just the size of a single tile. But as soon as you get to a double door, now you have multiple pieces. And those would need to be individual, but they need to be controlled in concert. And we have some tricky stuff like this, like the double door is kind of too big. It overextends past its individual tile, which means I either need to, well, I actually can't split that. I actually think I need to redraw this door to be more like the single door, to have a little bit more of the straight edge at the bottom and be a little less pointy. We fix it with the triple door by snub-nosing the triple door and adding a middle section. I think we need to do the same thing with the double door. I mean, we can't add a middle section because it's a double door, but I think it needs to be snubbed similarly. Maybe not this extreme, kind of somewhere between this and the single door. I think I need to control the doors via the tile map if I want to be consistent about that with the auto tiler. Am I making a game here? Hey, Pekarik UA. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Something in my eye. Yeah, we're making a game here. We're making an FTL-like in Godot. It's isometric 2D take on FTL. So we have a very complicated and large auto tiler that handles drawing the terrain for us. Because we basically have a 3D game world that we are presenting in isometric 2D, or dimetric if you want to be technically correct. Because it's actually a lot lower than a typical isometric view. Yeah, that's what we're working on right now. We recently built out a whole new tile map atlas format here. Big format. And we pretty much got it working. The thing is, we just kind of need to patch in temporary support for the doors, which actually should be pretty easy, but I think we do need a permanent change. I think we need to stop thinking of the door tiles as proxies for a node and think of them more as an atlas that we will manage with some kind of animator, like a tile animator, which makes sense because there actually might be a number of tiles that quote unquote animate, and we'll need some system that can handle that. I'm going to turn off texture padding. Sounds cool. You recently started with Unity like 10 days ago. You don't have much experience in programming. Do you think I need to switch to Godot while you're not too deep? Yes. No, that's a very pithy response. It kind of depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to get a job in the games industry, most studios are still kind of more on Unity. Godot is a lot smaller. Most studios are on Unity or Unreal. If you want to make your own projects, I think Godot is much better for a small or solo developer. If you are trying to just do pixel art 2D, I think Godot is very good. I think Godot is far superior to Unity and Unreal at pixel art and making pixel perfect games. I like the interface. I think it's a lot easier to understand and to work with than Unity. I used Unity for about 15 years as a hobbyist before switching to Godot about 2 years ago during events that need not be named. So I'd say yes. If you're only 10 days in, I would say switch now. Switch now while you can. Don't wait 15 years like me. Not that Godot was around 15 years ago. Godot was only around about 12 years ago. You just want to learn some 2D game making? If you want to learn some 2D game making, I think you should either go for Godot or check out Game Maker. Game Maker or Godot. If you're in the 2D game world, I would go for those. Game Maker can be pretty good, especially if you're not super confident at programming. Godot is pretty cool too. Godot has its own programming language called GDScript that superficially looks a lot like Python. So yeah, I would say drop Unity and pick up either Godot or GameMaker. There's some other ones too, but I'd say those are the two big ones for 2D. But yeah, good luck. You're just getting started. That is so exciting. Do some tutorials, do some game jams, do some stuff. Don't start by making your dream game. Just try to do something small. Just get used to the tools. Tutorials, game jams, Game Maker, Godot. And just have fun. Have fun with it. Starting to learn Godot a couple years ago was so exciting. It was like the world was young. Again. Felt very, very, very fun, very cool. Yeah. Tune back in. We stream every day. Oh, every day. We stream 5 days a week, typically Tuesday through Saturday. But yeah, good luck to you. I would love to hear the kind of stuff you're working on. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's try to get the doors working. If we can get the doors working, I would call this stream a success. Tomorrow, we'll need to start working on getting the overlays working with this new format. Our overlays will need to be sorted out. Round around. Love the name. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Yes, we are multi-streaming. We are multi-streaming Twitch and YouTube. And yes, if I'm talking to someone and you can't see the chat, I am probably talking to someone on YouTube. Hopefully, that's what I'm doing. Otherwise, I've had some kind of mental break. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we multi-stream to YouTube, which is nice because that's where the VODs live. So we stream in 4K to YouTube, and we've got our full VODs there. This will be our 300th VOD. Woo! It's gonna be exciting. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the channel. We just came off of a game jam last weekend, which is very cool. You can check it out on our itch page, which is a panel on Twitch. Just go there. Bare Necessities. We made it in 72 hours from scratch by ourselves. It's very fun. I'm still writing the high. I both have like the postpartum melancholia, and I'm also like writing the high, and like want to do another game jam. But I acknowledge that we need to get back to the main project. Trying to make an idle game, though, has only reinforced in my mind that I want to make an idle game very badly. So I think we will. I know we will be pursuing our side project, Lo-Fi Flyby, which is an idle game we plan on making using our autotiler and the tools and systems that we are developing for this, my main game. Diginanigans, you think I multi-stream for the whole purpose that I can talk to myself and have like a plausible deniability that I'm not crazy? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Someone's like got you Twitch and YouTube up on 2 screens and they're like, there's no one there. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. There's just no way to tell unless you were watching me twice. And no one would do that. So the secret is safe with me. Lo-fi sci-fi. Lo-fi flyby. Lo-fi sci-fi is a pretty good name. You can have the lo-fi sci-fi name. I haven't bought that domain. I have bought the lo-fi flyby name though. Never announce a game name until you've already purchased the domain. Domain before game name. That's what I say. Off to the patent office. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You usually don't have to worry about trademarking something, but if you do trademark something and you haven't bought the domain name yet, there are like literally bots that watch public trademark office filings and will purchase your domain instantly as soon as that trademark shows up. So similarly, don't mark it till you bought it. Cozy lo-fi sci-fi. I know, it's going to be very cool. I've been watching a lot of Firefly, and I am very, very unapologetically just like pretty much just straight ripping the layout of the Firefly ship Serenity for that game. That's scummy. Hey, Jerry. Yeah. Turns out people that are willing to set up automated crawler bots that just watch trademark filings are scummy people. Yeah. Domain squatters are not great. And they are everywhere. Arneo, you started making a board game. It didn't really work out, but it's such a great name, you'll hoard it till your deathbed. You can just reuse it somewhere else. Yeah, don't let a good name go to waste. My problem is that I was going to call this game that we're working on Digital Iliad, and then I made my whole identity online that name, and now I'm not sure if I can make the game that name, but it's such a good name that I don't think I'll ever come up with a better name. Although I did come up with Lo-Fi Flyby, and I think that's a better name, so who knows. FTL and like Faster Than Light. Yeah, Jerry. We are making like an isometric 2D FTL-like game about spaceship management. But yeah, it's a lot of tools and a big simulation system, and this is like a 6-year project, 6+ year project. I say 6 years, it's probably longer than that. I've said 5 to 6 years for at least 2 years. But yeah, we're thinking about making a smaller game in the meantime that uses the same technology. That would be like a cute little... Because this game is like a big old Star Trek simulator kind of thing. I'm thinking about making a little idle game that's more of like a Firefly simulator as like a stepping stone to the dream game. That's sick. Thank you. Yeah, we're working hard on it. We're working on an editor tool. I'll show you a little bit of the editor tool. We've got a big old auto tiler, a cutaway system, a compartmentalization system. We've got a bunch of systems that all run. Right now, it's pretty much just for this editor tool that lets us build out these 3D spaces that can be rendered in 2D. So this would be like how you make the different decks of the ship. We just updated the auto tiler, so it's got some issues, but this is kind of how it would work. And yeah, we're doing this just in-game. This is like an in-game editing tool, so I can just build the ships in the game. And it all works in runtime. So we're trying to wrap this tool up so we can move on to handling the simulation stuff of like pathfinding and, you know, all that good stuff. Pathfinding, atmospheric simulations. We can already simulate the compartments, but we need a bunch of other stuff too. Energy distribution. We need to start working on the simulation layer ASAP, but there are some tricky visibility issues to handle when you make a game with this kind of perspective, and that's what we've been tackling first. I would draw some doors, but that would break the game, so that's what we're trying to fix right now. So can I just hack this here? Tile atlas block. So let's just remove this. Remove these cases, and then we're just going to hard code replacement. And then we'll fix this another day once I've actually decided to solve. Round around. You love the C#, by the way. Everyone seems to love GDScript so much you can't get on board with it. I love GDScript too. Jiri, that looks smooth and complicated. Yeah, it is both smooth and complicated. You wouldn't even know where to start if you want to implement this. You start small, and then you just keep small, and you just keep adding these little small things together. And when you add enough of the small things together, it becomes a big thing. That's not meant to sound condescending. That's like literally like, that's like the engineer's mindset, right? You just take a big problem and you just break it up and break it up and break it up and break it up until it's so small that it's manageable. It is so small that you get kind of myopic and you see this detail and you might like lose sight of the bigger picture. So there's a trade-off where you end up getting pigeonholed and like deep diving into these small implementation details, and like you can like get lost, but it is the only way to go about a problem like this, I think. Round around, it's a really shallow isometric angle. You do not end up having to design around it. Yeah, it is a problem because unlike isometric, which only blocks one tile behind it, this blocks 3, which is a problem. Arneo, you bet idle games are harder to make than one thing. Waiting is hard to make into an interesting mechanic. Yes. A, that's the hard design problem, and B, there's a content creation problem, which I only learned during this jam, which is an idle game requires way more content than a regular game because you need so many different variations of everything. So yeah, so in an isometric game, a block only really obscures the block immediately behind it. So you don't have that much, and it only obscures a third of it. No matter what, it just obscures a third of it. But in dimetric, Rybread TV, thank you for the follow. With dimetric, the problem is that you actually obscure 3 tiles in front. So the obstructive problem is tripled. It's really challenging, which is why we spent so much time on this cutaway system. But yeah, back to the C# thing. I love GDScript. I use it when I'm doing a game jam. We're using C# here because earlier, you know, I said I worked in Unity. I worked in Unity, not at Unity, in Unity for 15 years. So I got really comfortable with C#. And I don't like, you found the Twitch, welcome over. I presume you're Jiri. Yeah, interaction's a little easier on Twitch. The latency is lower. So if you're lurking, I say go watch the YouTube, but if you want to engage, it is a little easier on Twitch. That doesn't stop people, though. I say do whatever makes you happy. Thank you for the follow. But yeah, because this is such a big game and it's got so many simulation elements, I really didn't want to have this thing where I had to manage the Godot scene tree. I didn't want everything to have to be a node. I wanted to do kind of a more ECS kind of thing where the simulation elements are very lightweight structs. So we basically, for this game, we've separated the simulation layer from the rendering and the UI layers. The rendering and the UI layers are still totally handled by Godot. The simulation layer has been moved off into its own C# little domain where we use an ECS to power it all, and that's really nice. I would not recommend using both languages in one project. It's kind of annoying, but it works out okay for us. But yeah, I like GDScript for small projects. But I have a hard time once the project gets beyond a certain size. Obviously, not everyone has that problem. Huge games have been made with Godot. But I think people tend to use GD extension. They start to use C++ when their project gets beyond a certain size. All right, we're trying to fix this door problem here. Or we're trying to patch it over at least so that we have a temporary solution until we redesign the door system to be like the other tile map environment systems. Should be interesting how we're going to do that. I guess that's why we've added dynamic tile set atlas formats so that we can actually support different formats. So this should actually be a very interesting... What did I just do? I think I commented out too much. Yeah. Man, it is hot today. It has been hot for the last week here, and it is humid. It's like 90-something% humidity outside. I have to go do laundry after this. It's not going to be easy. Doing laundry in 95% humidity is the challenge. Just got to hope that the laundry is still dry when you get it home, right? All right, let's give this a try. Round around. I missed your message here, but this is a good thing to come back to, which is that your favorite game dev advice you've heard is make systems, not games. I think I know exactly the content creator you're talking about. Build the parts, then stitch them together. Yeah, I think that's the process, especially if you're learning. Like, you want to learn how to make the different systems, and then when you actually are gonna go make the game, then you know how to do it. Obviously, that's not practical, and a lot of people get stuck in tutorial hell trying to do that. So there can be a motivation problem with that. But yeah, I think generally that's a good way to think about it. Depending on, you know, what motivates you and how you're able to learn and work. Like, you can't do that if you're like decided to participate in a game jam. But if you've already learned a lot of these different systems and then you go participate in a game jam, you'll be like, oh, I need this system. Oh, I know how to make that. Oh, I need this system. Oh, I know how to make that. Or even better, you've already got a template. That's even better. I came up with a real slick tile map pathfinding tool with my last game jam, and it's the first tool that I made where I was like, man, I should put that in a template. Because the next time I go to make a game, I've just got a pathfinding system where I can just paint a path network in a tile map and it will just build the pathfinding system for me. I'm like, that's slick. That would save me time next time I do a Ludum Dare or something. Save me a couple hours. Don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. Harder thing to do if you're not from a programming background.
Most illogical.
How dare you? I never claimed to be logical. I will say, though, every logical system at some fundamental level is underpinned by illogical assumptions. Unavoidable. You got to embrace it. All right, I think this will work. Let's try it. Let's try it, because I do gotta go do some laundry, and I'm still feeling pretty exhausted. So I don't know if I'm gonna do like a super long stream today, but this has been fun, getting back into it. All right, we'll draw our thing out. We'll make our the same demo I make every time. I really set my timeline back by being like, you know what, let's make a new tile map atlas format. But I'm really glad I did, because it seems like we're already gonna make use of that new process to make another format for the doors. Let's see if we can place a door here. We cannot. The door is not showing. It's there and it's empty. And is it causing an error? No. That's an unrelated thing that the engine yells at me about. All right, what are we missing? What are we missing? Oh, do I not have the door layers hooked up? Is that possible? No, I've got the door layer. I've got the proxy T-res. Did I not actually plug in the new values? I probably didn't. Oh, we name dropping Godot. Godot. Ever since Godot, even math doesn't actually make sense. Not that you understand what the hell the guy was on about. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I read GEB like every other lit major who, you know, dabbles in math. I've read GEB with the best of them. Probably about time to reread it. All right, we don't want create. We wanted get. Where's get? Get. There it is. Triple 3 or 2. Triple 2. Double 1. Single 0. Yeah, we do need to change. I totally, this is going to be great. This is going to be great having the doors work this way. All right, this should work. This is our amp. This is our very hopeful soundtrack we got here. Very affirmative song. All right, here they come. Here come the doors. There they are. Screaming into position. Okay. So you work that way, but not this way. Fascinating. All right, so why did the y-axis doors not work? Oh, I haven't set up the alt tiles. That would explain it. I do have to do that. I think literally all we have to do is flip H. Oh, here we have to flip H and we have to change the origin. This should be easy though. San. Sorry, but get door time should not be in the tile system class. It's a system. I guess it is a class. Bit of cleanup is due. Oh, cleanup is always due. If cleanup is not due, then you have not made any new features in a while. I don't know if I agree with that. We're also not getting the door time. We're getting the door tile, which I would argue is reasonably located in the tile system. But yeah, I do like a lightweight system. I tend to start by making a heavyweight monolithic system just for simplicity, and then as it becomes obvious that I can split stuff off, I'll start to spin them off into other lightweight systems. So like right now the cutaways are all being done in the tile map or in the tile system, but the cutaways could be its own system. It's fairly self-contained now. It used to not be because it depended on member variables of the tile system. But we've split those off to be their own entities so that you could access them from another system. And now that we've done that, we could easily spin that off. So yeah, I would like to split stuff up more, for sure. Yeah, get door tile. Yeah, I think getting a door tile is an appropriate thing to happen in a tile system. But there are definitely opportunities here. Why are they ordered this way? Okay, whatever. Once we get these alt tiles in here, we should be able to see a Y-axis door. No problem. Kind of silly to make an alt tile empty tile, but I'm going to do it just for completeness. Oh, did I actually flip H these? I think I did. I did not. I flip H to the first one, and then none of the others, and then I set up the... Yeah, I'm done. Well, welcome in, Dasan. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out here. I should just be able to flip the sign of the X, and it should be... no, that's not true. It's only true for some of them. Oh, no, maybe it is true for all of them. It's at least true for the double door. Weird. Oh, I guess it's because it's a double door. That wouldn't work for the triple, though. All right, we're going to flip H all of these first, just so I don't forget what I'm doing. This is temporary because we're going to replace the whole door tile system here. Or not tile system. We're going to replace the door tile set atlas source to break them up so that they're per face like the others. I just want to have something that works temporarily with what we've already got here. Which one's the... What is this supposed to be? 12? Just a flat 12? Sick. Oh, 12. Thank you. There you go. No, Jewel, the bear is slow. Yes, he is. It's a cozy game, no, Jewel. It's a cozy game. Get cozy. Put on some lo-fi. We're all too much in a rush these days. Stop and smell the berry bushes. You know? If I had made a more fluid animation, I probably could have made the bear a little faster, but it's a real stiff animation, so his movement needs to be real stiff, or it doesn't look right. But I kind of leaned into it pretty hard. And yeah, it's definitely one of the two pieces of feedback I get are, one, the bear is too slow, and two, there's no feedback when you click. And I very much respect the no feedback when click piece. That's true. I mean, we did at the last second decide to make it not an idle game, so I had never planned to add player input for the bear, but since we did, I should have done it a little more. I should have done it a little more thoughtfully. All right, this should work, which is great because I gotta go. All right, show me the doors. Auto Tyler's being a little weird. Or the cutaway system's still being a little weird when you get to the edge like that. There we go. Show me some doors. All right, show me some Y-axis doors. All right, they're positioned wrong. Why are they positioned so low? The double and the triple should be right. Okay, they are. I just gotta fix the single. All right, I'm gonna fix that and not test it. That's pretty much done for now. Yeah, I agree, Diginanigans. Why did I mess up the... Did I just not... I just didn't set their origin. Just 24, I think? No? Just 12? Yeah, it is. All right, we got it. We got doors working. So the new tile set atlas format works. It's using an old door format, so we haven't added the new door format, but that's something we're going to do. You thought I'd die if the bear got to 0? You tried going infinite. You can go infinite, but you could also just go take a nap. But thanks for playing. I really appreciate that, Nudjul. All right, I got to run. This has been fun. We'll be back tomorrow. Doing the same thing, more of the same. Yeah, play Bare Necessities if you feel like it, if you want to see what I did over the weekend. It's very hard. I very enjoyed it, though. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Maximum warp.